Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to the #1 sports podcast, broadcasting Sundays at 9 a.m.-ish in Sacramento, California. Sports Talk 916. Now here are your hosts, Greg Bowl and Coach Greg Barosa.
Good Sunday afternoon somewhere, I guess. It is Sunday morning, 9-ish in the morning. And you're tuned in to episode number 272, this little ditty we call Sports Talk 916. I'm Coach Greg. That's my buddy, Mr. Chief, Greg Bowl. And together we're the two-headed monsters of Greg that we call Sports Talk 916. How's it going, man?
It's going good. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Nice busy week.
Yep, always. Same as everything. A lot of working on selling some houses, trying to get over some hurdles, put a couple of deals back together. They were a little iffy at best, but I think we got everything figured out. So we're moving on.
You are 1 year older today than you were last episode?
I am. It is. It's an anniversary of my 29th birthday.
That's right. Is your birthday today or yesterday?
Today.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Had I known, I would have had like Keith Jogonatis or someone on to sing you happy birthday, but I haven't been on Facebook much this morning to get the alert that it was your birthday, so you just have to do a happy birthday. And PJ says happy birthday in the chat box. Yeah, busy week.
What's up with you? How was your week?
Hey, Barn Bomb. What's up, Barn Bomb?
Barn Bomb, the media star of all time.
The media darling of Sacramento, that's right.
Right? And and Sacramento's best photo bomber.
Right. Oscar says happy birthday. Well, he says Feliz cumpleaños, Coach Greg.
Gracias, amigo.
Busy week. Just, a lot of stuff to do, a lot of stuff getting done. Cleaning
up after the Super Bowl party.
No, that was easy. That was cleaned up before I woke up the next morning.
That's right.
But, yeah, but no, it's been a good week. Went to the Fit Expo yesterday, looked at some, heavy lifters and some cool stuff. But back to the grind today. So we're here. We got a pretty good show today. We talk a little football, talk some baseball, and then lots of NBA. And we're gonna end with a nice little rant on the new, fan favorite Willie Cauley-Stein and his latest
antics.
So let's first start off with, I don't know if you saw it yesterday on Facebook or not, but I shared one of the opening plays from the American Allegiance of Football game yesterday, and they started off with a bang. It showed a quarterback hit. Quarterback got the ball away barely. But the D-end lit him up to a whole new horizon. Helmet came off, ball came out, and the most beautiful thing about it, not a flag in sight. It was football again. Yesterday was a kickoff. There's another game today. Are you at all excited about this, seeing that clip? Like, did it change your opinion on maybe what it might become?
I actually logged the second half of that game. Actually, the end of the first half and most of the second half of that game was on last night. And you never know. I got to give it 3 or 4 games to actually see what's going on. But it was fun. It was football. I like some of the things that they're doing. Some of the things are kind of a little head scratching. I mean, there's no kickoffs. There's no kicking of extra points. The ball just automatically goes to the 25. They have to go for 2 points on every touchdown. What else was there? One thing I did like is they have the coaches and the quarterbacks mic'd up. Nice. And they were playing it during the game. So you could hear the quarterback or the coach going, okay, we're going to run this play and call out the play, and then the quarterback call it. And I thought that was pretty cool. So you got a little bit more insight on what's going on. It looks like they're going to let them play a little bit too. I didn't see a whole lot of flags at all. It was for the first game. It wasn't bad. It was better than the USFL or the XFL's first game a couple of years ago. But didn't look like anybody got hurt real bad. Defenses were definitely way ahead of the offense. Quarterbacks were missing some wide open passes, and offensive linemen were letting guys get right through without even being touched. But all in all, it was fun. I'll log some time on it. I'll give it a couple of games to make my final decision.
For sure.
But
so originally my thought was it's too soon. It was too soon from the Super Bowl to their kickoff, and because it was only 2 weeks or a week and a half, I guess. And initially, I thought that wasn't going to be enough time for people to be longing for football again. But luckily for them, the Super Bowl fucking sucked, and I think people were actually looking for a good football game, and I think that allowed a little bit more excitement to be around this, and then seeing them actually hitting the quarterback and playing the game, it's kind of nice. But someone made a comment yesterday on that Facebook video, and that was, I believe it was Joe Delso. He said, with plays like that, these guys aren't going to last very long. And, sustainability of players, if they're able to go out and play original style football, the chances of them having a prolonged league is probably going to be pretty rough. So it'll be interesting to see how long this league lasts, to see how long, like Oscar said, it's more gimmicky. To see how long the new car smell on it lasts, to see what comes through, and then it may die quicker than many expect, and then there may be a longer break between the NFL, and then there's still another shot at another league when the XFL comes through. So I just wonder if they weren't trying to keep people in their habits of watching football. You kind of get the habit. I mean, I'm in the habit. Sunday morning, TV goes on, it goes straight to, whatever pregame show I'm going to watch. And that's my Sunday morning after this show. So I think maybe that's what they're trying to do, is not let people get out of the mindset of watching football. Right.
If they wait too long, then, and I know that baseball really isn't a competitor, but pretty soon baseball is going to be starting. And if they wait too long,
one day, 12 hours, by the way, until pitchers and catchers report.
I know, right? So let's just see how it goes. They have good coaches. I mean, Mike Martz was coaching the San Diego team last night, and
let's step back on that statement you just made. They have name recognition coaches. I don't know that I would put Mike Martz or any coach that's in this AAF as a good coach, because if they were a good coach, they'd probably be coaching in the NFL somewhere.
Yeah,
there's name recognition associated with. Yeah, Mike Martz was a good coach 15 years ago.
Right.
He probably falls under the same category as John Gruden. The only difference is Gruden kept his name relevant, and the Raiders needed a boost of fandom. Mike Martz, let's just call it what it is. He was a innovative offensive coordinator. Once he took a head coaching job, his career ended, and that's why he's in the AAF.
But he's fun to watch on the sidelines too, because he's animated. He makes great faces, and now that he's mic'd up, he says all kinds of shit that's just hilarious.
Now it's on CBS, so are you hearing a lot of edited? It's live, so are they?
I think they were instructed to watch the language. There were a lot of cuts, so I don't know if they were, maybe it's on a 10-second delay or something, so that they have time to dump whatever, if they start dropping F-bombs. But I didn't hear anything. But again,
it's technically not a live game then.
Well, I mean, all the radio shows on KHTK are live, but they're on a 7-second delay. So
I guess we'll give it that. So how long prediction, how long does it actually last?
I give it 2 years.
You really think they'll make 2 full seasons out of this?
I didn't say 2 full seasons. I said it would go 2 years. So I don't know. I think it just depends. It's how do you make that prediction after one game? You can't. So let's see how it goes for the first 3 or 4 weeks. The one
Are
key
you gonna
thing
watch? Are you gonna watch today?
no, I got other shit going on today. And yes, Mike Singletary does coach in the AAFL.
So there's no relevance to coaches whatsoever then at this point.
I think
is Jimmy Ray his offensive coordinator? Can anyone confirm that?
I don't know. I think that again, it's going to be just to see. I think the relevance is in the names. I don't think you're going to, because there's no other names. I mean, it's not like the players are a bunch of named players. There's nothing. So you got to have something to draw people to the game, and it's going to be to watch. And with them mic'd up and on camera a lot, that's the first thing people are gonna be attracted to, is being able to hear Singletary go off.
Right.
And Mike Martz
stance at halftime.
Yeah, or Mike Martz saying, "Hey, I'm thinking about dropping this quarterback right now, or pulling this quarterback right now," before he had done it. So it was, that kind of stuff I like. So
now there's another thing going on with this, and you watched the game. There's some kind of like crow's nest cam or some kind of over the top camera that they're using. Did you catch that at all?
I didn't see anything. TJ, did you see it?
There was some kind of talk about a new camera that the NFL may actually look to adopt if it was successful, but
I didn't see that.
Who knows? Anyways, I'm not that worried about the AAF. I'm honestly more excited about the XFL coming back, just because I think it's going to be more
worse. I think it's going to be worse.
Oh, I'm not saying it's going to be better football. It's going to be better production. It's going to be more entertaining, I think. You know what was really entertaining? I forgot to mention this in the intro, was the dart competition that I watched earlier this week. It was amazing to me that this Federation of Darts is 17 nights long in Europe. They had a stadium that had to have at least 15,000 people in it. Easy. And the stage was set up at the end of the stadium. It wasn't even in the middle. It was like at the far end. Imagine Golden One Center being set up and having the stage up by the hangar doors. And they had jumbotrons everywhere, and they had one single dartboard set up in the whole place. They had cheerleaders, they had pyrotechnics when the guys were coming in. It was absolutely ridiculous. The cameras were like dramatic zooming when the first 2 darts hit the double 20, they would throw those cameras. It was amazing. But Adam, enough of the damn darts. Yeah. Let's hear about you real quick, and then we're going to talk some Major League Baseball. So let's see. What am I doing right here?
If you or anyone you know is thinking about buying, selling, or investing in real estate, they deserve to have someone working with them that not only knows what they're doing, but will explain everything that happens along the way. That person would be me, Coach Greg Baroza of Keller Williams Realty. I have 2 goals. My first goal is to coach you through the buying and selling process, making it easy to understand and as stress-free as possible, which isn't easy sometimes. My second goal is to have fun doing it. Come be a part of my team. Let me coach you or anyone you know through the real estate process. Give me a call at 916-241-8068, and let's talk about how I can coach you through the real estate process. Let me ask you one question. Who do you know that's looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate that I should know right now? Again, that's Greg Baroza, Keller Williams Realty, 916-241-8068.
That's right. All right. So, Major League Baseball. Let's talk some Major League Baseball. As I mentioned a few minutes ago, 1 day, 12 hours, and 41 minutes and seconds until spring training, until pitchers and catchers report, which is like the second best day of the year.
Next to
Christmas.
He said it's the second best day of the year.
Yeah, except for probably Christmas.
Oh.
Adam says a lot of spring training stuff starting up out here in Arizona. Can't wait for the games to start. Absolutely. There have been you're going to see some new things during spring training. There's been a lot of proposed rule changes that they're going to be testing in spring training games and through all the whole exhibition season, which should make things a little bit interesting. The first one isn't anything to do with exhibition games, but it's going to hopefully help with the landscape of Major League Baseball. So Oscar, basketball talk is coming up right after this. They're going to start tying. They propose to tie draft position to competitiveness. If a team for a number of consecutive years doesn't hit a certain win threshold, they're going to slide down the draft board. They're not going to be guaranteed a top pick. Basically going to guarantee that they're actually putting a competitive team on the field in order to make sure that teams aren't just tanking. So that would be interesting. One thing that they're going to do in spring training and showcase events like the All-Star Game and the World Baseball Classic is they've proposed they've proposed the international base running rules, which is putting a runner at the final out of the last inning at second base. This would be after the 11th inning or further into games, trying to get the games to end quicker. Everything right now is based on speed of the game. That's what like 90% of the rule changes are this year. That one I don't like at all. I think that's ridiculous. Let them play it out. This isn't, minor league baseball. Now, on the flip side of that, with that being said, River Cats games, whatever, I'm okay with it there. But at the major league level, no. We need to make sure that we're playing the game as it was designed to play. In 2019, they're reducing the number of mound visits from 6 to 4. And in 2020, it's going to go from 4 to 3. Wow. So managers are going to need to be doing a lot of their stuff in the dugouts. The catchers are going to need to be a lot more viable when they go out to the mound and talk, because that doesn't count as a mound visit. It's only the manager or the pitching coach mound visits. How about teams that reach the World Series twice in a row and lose? Will Major League Baseball help them out? No, because that's fun for us. This one I want your opinion on, because you've been watching baseball for obviously a lot longer than I have. They are basically taking away the manager's strategy when it comes to the bullpen. This proposal it's again, pace of play concerns, they could call it the Bruce Bochy rule, if you will. They're going to require pitchers to face 3 batters. You can't come in for a lefty specialist, get one guy out, and leave. So the Javier Lopez rule, we can call it even.
Right.
So basically, if let's say it's lefty, righty, lefty, you bring in Javier Lopez, he gets the first lefty out. He can essentially walk the second one intentionally and go for the ground ball to get the third one out. But they're going to be required to face 3 batters. How do you feel about that one?
I don't like it at all. So the Giants had their fan fest yesterday, and it was on the radio. So I listened to a couple hours of it while I was working here in the office, and they asked Bruce Bochy about it, and they basically said, all day they kept talking about how that's his claim to fame, is how he works the bullpen and how he uses the bullpen.
Right.
And of course he said, well, I don't like it. He thought it was a dumb rule. I do too. I mean, so what happens if, how many times have we seen this? Pitcher comes in, throws a home run.
He doesn't throw the home run. He throws the ball and the ball gets hit in for a home run.
Oh, you know what I mean.
Okay.
Jesus Christ. Come on, I'm old. Give me a break.
Okay.
And then the next batter, he throws another home run or throws another.
Said it again. Anyways, go ahead.
Throws a home run pitch. You know what the fuck I mean.
I know what you mean.
Jesus Christ. Kids nowadays. And he has nothing. He's completely ineffective. He just doesn't have it. Why would you force them to have to throw to a third batter? I just don't think it's gonna eliminate it's gonna eliminate Javier Lopez. Wouldn't have a job.
Are we gonna start seeing injuries? Oh, his shoulder hurts. He pulled something in his arm. He's out.
You know what else you might see? You might see somebody like the Chicago Cubs bringing in 2 pitchers at the same time and throwing one in left field, or taking the pitcher that the lefty going against the lefty who has a righty in the middle, going out and playing right field for a batter, and a new pitcher comes in. I mean, I think you could see things like that.
That would definitely be interesting.
I don't like it. I think it changes the game too much. I don't know. I just to me, it's not pace of play. I mean, to me, it's not. Somebody made the comment yesterday. It's like, well, yeah, last year we saved almost 7 minutes. What? And we've talked about this before. What is 7 minutes going to save us? It's how fast you get things going. So what you need to do is you need to stop the pitchers from walking around the mound for a minute. You need to stop the guys from stepping out.
Hold on, don't get ahead of me. That's coming. Just hold that thought. There's a proposal to increase September rosters to 26-man September rosters will be 28-man. The rest of the season will be a 26 with a 12-pitcher maximum. Basically not allowing you to have an extra reliever. You'll still have a 12-pitcher maximum, blah, 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 whatever. This one
hold on. It sounds like it doesn't allow for September call-ups either then. So, because in September, you have a 40-man roster that you can play.
Right.
So it sounds like they're trying to eliminate that too.
Right. So it says, while the idea of reducing expanded September rosters from 40 players to 28 seems drastic, the principle is pretty sound. Last September, the Dodgers got to play with essentially two different lineups over the course of the game, with a righty-heavy lineup against lefties or vice versa. With many of those batters ceding their lineup spot to their platoon player, we also see a lot of those same anonymous relievers every September, and that parade sure seemed to make those games feel longer. A compromised position could be reached. 40-man roster stay intact, but only 28 are allowed to be on the active roster any given game.
I don't mind.
That limits the manager's toy box in a way that they can help control the pace of the play, but still get those minor leaguers who had good seasons the opportunity to be rewarded with some major league time. If we don't see that proposed version in the next 2 years, I expect we may see a compromise proposal take effect over the next 5. So that could be interesting. This one, I think they're doing backwards. This one they have set up as the universal DH in both leagues. I think they have it backwards. I think you take away the DH and you have the pitchers play baseball. I'm tired of seeing pitchers in the American League not get a chance to swing the fucking bat. Learn to play the game. You're a baseball player. Learn to play the game. Okay?
I agree with that. I'm fine with that.
I don't like that at all. Let's see. A 20-second pitch clock.
I have no problem with that. I have no problem at all. We've seen it. We see it at the River Cats games. In fact, we talked to the guy who ran the pitch clock, and he said very rarely does
it ever come into factor.
Yeah.
But there are those times.
Somebody was saying the way they have it set up. If the batter is in the box and steps out, that still counts against your time. And if if you shake the catcher off, it could lead to a ball. I don't know. I think that there's got to be ways to get around that to where, you just don't let the pitcher or the batter step out. But
there's another proposed rule that would say that you require the pitcher or the batter to have a foot in the box at all times, except for under special circumstance where if they foul a ball off their foot or they get brushed back or whatever, they can reset. So what do you think about some of these proposed rule changes?
Some of them I don't mind. Some of them, it's like I started to say earlier, it's ridiculous for some of these guys to take a stroll after every pitch.
Oh, absolutely. Can't stand that more than anything.
And there's also no reason for pitchers to be walking around the mound, taking extra long time. Get the ball and throw it. You don't need to slow that to me is probably the worst thing. And I think even a 30-second pitch clock would solve that problem. Where you get these guys that they take forever to get on the rubber. Then all of a sudden they're staring and then they're shaking 4 pitches off, and then they're stepping off, and then they're stepping back on. And that to me, that bugs me.
Yep.
Over everything else. It's make the pitchers throw the damn ball.
I agree.
And if a batter steps out, you know what? You throw the ball anyway, and if it's a strike, it's a strike.
I can see that. Let's see. Okay, so I mentioned 1 day, 12 hours, and some change. There's still 2 big names on the board: Manny Machado, Bryce Harper. There's
names on the board.
Well, the 2 big ones are Manny Machado and Bryce Harper.
Right.
They're apparently jockeying with each other. No one wants to be the first to sign. They want the other one to set the numbers. Adam says Steelers are going to sign Nick Foles. That'll be interesting, considering they're going to franchise tag him. you have Harper, you have Machado. All the reports are that Machado is still eyeballing the Yankees. He still could be looking at the White Sox. Whereas Bryce Harper has not such a clear front runner. The Phillies were the front runner forever. Since day one, they had the most money. They were said to be the most aggressive. They were looking to sign both Machado and Harper. They wanted them both. They were all in. Harper all but said, I don't want to play in Philly. Like, that's pretty much it. Like, he would take less money to not play in Philly. And the Phillies went out and traded for JT Realmuto from the Marlins, which I think is a great trade for them. They gave up their top pitching prospect and some other prospects. And many are perceiving that to be an attempt to go after Harper. I think that, honestly, if you don't get Harper, Realmuto is a damn good consolation prize. Like, I think that still propels the Phillies right up that ladder to the top of the league. Where is it?
Damn it, Barnbaum.
What now?
I wish Mike was on so he can explain this. I love the DH. It needs to stay and be adopted by the National League. Why? It makes the game boring. It takes away the competitive advantage.
You know what else it does? It makes the game longer.
Yeah.
The American League games are longer because you don't have that out. You know, every 3 innings, you have not an automatic out, but a whole lot less chance of somebody getting hit and extending the game. So, we're all worried about pace of play and how long the games are. Why would you adopt a rule that's going to automatically make every game longer?
Yeah, exactly.
Hi.
Sorry, Mike.
This is Mike Barnbaum.
Okay, so the Giants were essentially out. They were ruled out. A couple months ago, the Giants, Farhid Zahani, general manager, Zadie, general manager, basically threw in the towel on the idea that that the Giants were going to be big spenders, that they were going to be in on this. And all of a sudden now you have Zadie, he comes out and says the following, and I can't fucking read it.
Look at you.
He says, as the market evolves, there might be guys that you had kind of questioned or doubted the feasibility of it at one point that you now circle back on. It's our job and responsibility to keep tabs on all parts of the market, and we're continuing to do that. Yeah, I do think things can change, and your target list evolves over the course of the offseason. So the Giants are back in the mix with Bryce Harper. They did meet with him in Las Vegas. And what's crazy about that is it was first reported by a fan. It was a fan who ran into Larry Bear at the Bellagio, and he took a photo, and speculation started, and it turned out that it was Zadie, Bochy, Larry Bear, and Buster Posey were in.
No, Buster wasn't there.
The reports I saw yesterday said Posey.
He said he wasn't there. He said he's
okay.
0 for 3, and it was Bochy, Zahidi, Larry Bear. I don't think there was a player involved.
Well, Posey was asked about it, and Posey said he's 100% on board for it.
Oh, yeah.
Jeff Samardzija, 100% on board for it. All the players seem to be on board. According to all reports right now, is that the Giants have crept back into the front-runner status of it. There's mutual interest in both. Bryce Harper loves San Francisco. He said he would love to be a part of it. It's just now a matter of what the Giants want to do. The talks are obviously that Harper wants to be big money Harper. He turned down 10 years, $300 million from the Nationals. He wants more. The Giants clearly have the money to do it. Last season, they were all in on Giancarlo Stanton. They wanted to, or they were willing to absorb 100% of Giancarlo Stanton's what you call it, 100% of Giancarlo Stanton's contract last season. They were, they were aggressive. It didn't happen. So seemingly they could make a $310 million offer, or 300, whatever $1 million offer to the Giants, or to Bryce Harper, I should say. And, it won't hurt necessarily as bad as, one may seem. But it's all kind of wait and see at this point. There's also been talks that the Giants may go a different route, and they may go with a smaller offer, a 2-year $70 million offer, or a 2-year $80 million offer, to kind of judge the interest and see the production that Harper brings to the team playing at AT&T Park, and how the fans react and whatever. The big concern obviously is the amount of money the Giants still on the books. I don't know who this Burr Ryan is. This guy should not be a sports talker. Okay, cool. You can leave. The Giants do have a lot of money on the books. Next season, obviously, Bumgarner comes off at $12 million. Melanson comes off in 2020, along with Samardzija. That's a lot of money coming off the books. Crawford, Belt, Posey. You got to imagine 2 of those 3 are still going to be around. Cueto's going to be gone in 2021. And then Evan Longoria, who has a player option in 2021, still has $72.5 million coming off the books at the end of 2022. So you add in Harper money, they still have the money there. It definitely makes the Giants a contender. How would you feel about a long-term deal versus a short-term deal, or what are your thoughts on the Madison, or not, sorry, on the Bryce Harper exchange?
Well, whatever it takes to get him, you do it. If it takes him a long-term deal, he's only 26. In 10 years, he'll be 36, but hell, by that time, the National League will have the DH, and it's not going to matter. So, I think you go after him. I think, for me, and I've talked about this the whole time, is everybody seems to think the Giants are, out of it at the beginning of the season. And I don't think so. I mean, they were beat up really bad last year. Injuries killed them. Defensively, I still don't think there's a team that's better than the Giants are in the infield. What they're missing is they're missing outfield power, and that's where you're going to get it. And bringing somebody like Harper in is going to change the whole makeup of this team. It's going to change the batting order. It's going to change who's getting what pitches. I think if you bring in Harper, maybe one other decent outfielder, maybe with some speed, then all of a sudden you got, you have the makings of a pretty good team as long as they can stay healthy. And that's the key. I mean, you have to look at how many games they missed due to injury last year. And it had to be one of the league leaders. So, that's my thing, is I think that they're in good shape to still make a run. Again, they just have to stay healthy.
The other report is if the Giants go after Bryce Harper, they could also go after Adam Jones from the Orioles. Adam says the Giants should have swooped on Pollock before the Dodgers did. I'm not a big fan of Pollock. I think he's been falling off, and I just don't think he would not produce the way we need him to in AT&T Park. I just don't believe that. One more thing about the Giants before we move on to baseball or basketball is Jeff Samardzija was asked about reconfiguring the outfield in AT&T Park, and he said, "I like the crazy fields. I like it, when the ballpark is weird." He said, leave the fences as they are for part of the season, move them in for part of the season, move them back out. He said nothing is going to tear that field up as bad as Jason Aldean playing a crappy concert at AT&T Park during the season.
Right.
So, we've talked about that before. I think you leave it. AT&T Park is unique for that reason alone. Jones is more washed up, but Jones can still play left field.
Of course Samardzija is going to like it because he's a pitcher, and you don't give up a whole lot of home runs.
Exactly.
Most people don't. They just need to, I know that.
Oracle Park. Sorry, whatever. It's always going to be fucking AT&T Park.
Hey, I still call it Pac Bell Park.
Will Bonds ever make the Hall of Fame? He needs to. He should. He should already be in there. There should be no questions about that. That's we've talked about that ad nauseum, over and over and over again. So, all right, let's talk some NBA stuff here. But first, we got to remind you guys that Albert Chavez is one of our lead partners and sponsors. He is the Mortgage King with United Wholesale Lending. He is the go-to guy for your home mortgage, your refi, your anything involving lending for a mortgage. You want to give Albert Chavez a call, 916-230-1537. He works with Greg Veroza all the time, and he just gets the job done. Whether it's whether it's an easy deal or a hard deal, he grinds and makes sure that everything gets done and completed regardless of circumstance. And he's very, very well tuned with the ever-changing market, with all of the different promotions and credits and seller programs and buyer programs that are available. So give him a call today, 916-230-1537. Tell him that Sports Talk 916 sent you, and go get yourself into a home. Not today, but within 15 days. Albert Chavez, 916-230-1537. NBA talk. Let's talk. We're going to get to the Kings here, but there's a couple other things I wanted to talk about first. And the big one is obviously the trade deadline and some of the moves that were made around the NBA. But the big one that I got a big kick out of was all the reports coming out of New Orleans that all of the Anthony Davis rumors and all the Anthony Davis chatter that happened with the Lakers was all preconceived and planned out by Dell Demps and the New Orleans Pelicans. They basically wanted the Lakers to put a rift in between themselves. Let all the stuff come out. Whatever offer they made, they leaked it so that then the news would get out and put a divide between that Lakers team. And it's basically it was derived around the fact that the Lakers were tampering with Anthony Davis. LeBron was in contact with them. Magic Johnson was talking about him publicly. The other, I can't think of what their general manager's name is, but
Rob Pelinka.
He got in trouble for tampering before. He got in trouble for tampering again. So I give huge props. I don't know why this isn't working. There we go. Props to the New Orleans Pelicans and Dell Demps for sticking it to the Lakers. Like Oscar said, that is the best non-move ever. It literally destroyed the chemistry and what the Lakers were trying to build. I saw a meme pop up the other day. It was Magic Johnson on the phone that said, "Hey, you said you wanted Anthony, right? Well, we might be able to get you Carmelo." And it was LeBron on the other end. I think that's hilarious. I'm glad that it worked out. I mean, there is a chance that Anthony Davis still goes to the Lakers in the offseason, but it's a wait and see game. Another thing that popped up online I thought was hilarious was a report came out of Bleacher Report that Magic Johnson has a plan to stick it back to the Pelicans in the offseason. And the first comment on that report was Magic Johnson's going to go down to New Orleans in the offseason and donate blood, which I thought was absolutely it was terrible, but hilarious at the same time. I was heckling Crook at the stick once, and I told him I would buy him a hot dog if he whiffed. He did strike out and pointed at me when he was walking back to the dugout. That's pretty awesome. And one more thing, I mentioned something I forgot to talk about in baseball. Bochy talked about openers like Sergio Romo did earlier in the season, and Bumgarner jokingly said, "If you put an opener in my starts, I'm walking out of the stadium." He said it with a laugh. Media ran all over it and started posting things that Bochy is losing Bumgarner in the locker room and this and that or whatever. But, it is what it is. I think the Celtics are sticking it to the Kings for the draft pick. The Celtics have been laying eggs left and right. It's pretty damn ridiculous about how bad they're playing and how bad they're losing these big games. But I think depending on Kyrie Irving, he went down with a knee injury yesterday. You may see a tank job, and for them to get more draft picks somehow in Boston if Kyrie's injury is it's more serious than people are leading on to believe. But no, the trade deadline happened, and it was busy, and there were a lot of trades that went down.
Okay,
you know,
one more thing. I don't know. Do you have the LeVar comments that he made?
I don't have them, but basically, in a nutshell, he said that Lonzo is better than Magic ever was.
No, better than LeBron.
Well, he said he mentioned Magic as well back in the day, that he can bring Lonzo can bring Showtime back to the Lakers in a way that Magic couldn't. The Suns need to get all three of the Ball brothers, and he guarantees them a championship. The Lakers will never win another championship if Lonzo's traded. He can coach better than Luke Walton. It just goes on and on and on and on.
So I'm giving credit to the Pelicans for awakening the monster,
awakening the beast. That's right.
We have been LeVar-less for way too long. He's way too funny. So thank you, Pelicans, for reintroducing the world to LeVar Ball.
What about the fact that we have LeVar 2.0 coming through here in Sacramento with Marvin Bagley's dad seemingly opening his mouth more and more now?
I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen anything from him. So what did I miss?
So he came out at the beginning of the season and he started, kind of doing the LeVar thing, and then he was quiet, and then the Kings put out a photoshopped image of the starting lineup for the first game that Harrison Barnes was going to be in the lineup, and it was Willie, Bielitsa, Harrison Barnes, Fox, and Buddy, the starting five. His dad shared it, calling it disrespectful, shared it and tagged Marvin, shared it again and tagged the Kings, saying it's a disrespectful action. Bagley should be starting this and that or whatever. And it's like, dude, and Grant and Doug say this all the time on their show, and it's cliche, but it matters. Who gives a fuck who starts the game? It's who finishes the game that matters. And 9 times out of 10, Bagley's on the floor in crunch time in the fourth quarter, and he's getting more minutes than the starting 4 is anyways. If it works for him, let him come off the goddamn bench. Who cares if he's starting or not? Like, you can get him. It's like that's like a little league parent bitching because his kid doesn't start the game, but he plays the last 4.5 innings. Okay, well, your kid's on the field when the game ends. Who has a chance to have an impact on the game? Who cares?
Right.
You're playing equal time, and you're playing more than the other kid. I don't know. I can't stand these little league parent mentalities that are getting involved. But some of the trades that did happen, the first one off the books was the Knicks-Dallas trade, Porzingis for Dennis Smith Jr. Dallas got Kristaps Porzingis, Courtney Lee, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Trey Burke. The New York Knicks got Dennis Smith Jr., DeAndre Jordan, who is going to be waived, and Wesley Matthews, plus 2 future first-round draft picks. Yeah, look at Bogey. He's always in at crunch time. He doesn't complain. He's in the game when it matters.
Yeah.
That's all that should matter. Knicks Porzingis going to Dallas basically set off the trade route. The Mavericks posted a thing. I think it's one of the first times in history, or one of the very rare times in NBA history. There's a photo of Dirk Nowitzki on the court in a Dallas Mavericks uniform with Tim Hardaway Sr. as a Maverick as he ended his career. And Dirk is still playing, now a teammate with Tim Hardaway Jr. on the same team like 18 years later, which is insane. The Clippers tank job was kicked off, and the Sixers being all in were magnified with the Tobias Harris trade. Philly got Tobias Harris, Boban Marjanovic, and Mike Scott. The Clippers got Landry Shamet, Wilson Chandler, Mike Muscala, a 2020 first-round pick, a 2021 first-round pick via Miami, a 2021 second-round pick, and a 2023 second-round pick for that trade. You guys can't hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Can someone else confirm that I sound like I'm underwater for Oscar, please?
You keep there every once in a while. You do for a couple seconds, but you come back to.
It's interesting.
Yeah. I think the big, I've been trying to figure out who the winner of that trade is between the Clippers and the Sixers, and I don't know that there is one. The Clippers are all about next year, and so that's all they're doing is clearing cap space. They think that they have a shot at the big couple of free agents.
Yep.
The Sixers are all in. their starting lineup is amazing right now. I think they took big steps to go to the top of the NBA East. I can see a Golden State Warriors 76ers final, which I think would be a fun series to watch. And I think as much as I think the Warriors are stacked, I think the Sixers could have a chance of beating them. I mean, it definitely goes 7 games.
Yeah, no, the Sixers are definitely in it to win it. They're stacking their team. The Clippers are in a tank job. They are looking for next year. They think that they have a lot in place to get Anthony Davis, and as long as they don't make the playoffs this year, they keep their draft picks. So that's part of their motivation as well. So, I don't like it necessarily, but at the same time, you got to do what you got to do, right?
Yep.
I just tested the audio. It sounds fine on my side, so I don't know if Oscar's phone maybe is having some connection issues. Regardless, let's see here. 76ers also moved former number one overall pick Markelle Fultz to the Magic. Magic got Fultz. Philadelphia got Jonathan Simmons, a first-round pick via Oklahoma City, and a second-round draft pick from the Magic. The Sixers, just like the Celtics, man, are stacking draft picks like you wouldn't believe, which is pretty crazy. Memphis traded Marc Gasol to the Raptors in exchange for Jonas Valanciunas, Delon Wright, CJ Miles, and a 2024 second-round draft pick. The Raptors also signed Ben McLemore to a 10-day contract. That should be interesting to see if Ben even gets on the floor.
So, a fun fact about the Grizzlies, I heard this morning. The first game after the trade deadline was the first game in their existence that there wasn't a Gasol on the roster.
Wow.
So, between the two Gasols, they had played they'd been on the roster for every game that the Grizzlies had ever played since they moved from Vancouver. So, I thought that was kind of a cool stat.
Yeah, because they had Powell. And then they traded the rights to Mark to the Lakers in that Powell deal in order to bring in Marc Gasol. So, yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, it's pretty cool, too. But at the same time, one other thing about the Grizzlies is I really hope that if Dallas buys out Zach Randolph, that he gets to re-sign with Memphis and retires there as a Grizzly because that's where he should be. Let's see a couple more. Speaking of the Grizzlies, they dealt Garrett Temple, Jalen Michael Green, and to the Clippers for Avery Bradley. More signs that the Clippers are in a tank job. Wizards traded Otto Porter Jr. to the Bulls in exchange for Jabari Parker, Bobby Portis, and a 2023 second-round draft pick. The Heat traded Tyler Johnson to the Suns in exchange for Wayne Ellington in exchange for Ryan Anderson. And then obviously there's the Kings trades we'll get to here in a second. The one that's crazy, is poor Nick Stauskas. Nick Stauskas got traded 3 times in the week and then he got waived. He's now teamless. Adam says AB's trade value came out today and there's no way he's going to San Francisco. I think AB trade value, depending on that domestic violence charges that could be filed against him, is about to tank. So if you can elaborate on that for us, Adam, we'll cover that at the end of the show. But I don't think that his trade value is even in question right now until those legal proceedings continue. The Kings did make some moves. Actually, I forgot to mention Nikola Mirotic got traded from the Pelicans to the Bucks in exchange for Jason Smith, Stanley Johnson. Oh, and the Pistons. Jason Smith, Stanley Johnson, Denver's 2019 second-round pick, Washington's 2020 and 2021 second-round picks, and Milwaukee's 2020 second-round picks. The Pistons in that deal got Thon Maker. Seems like they gave up a lot for a guy that hasn't produced at all. Let's see here. But yeah, the Kings trade Scalabiciere to the Portland Trailblazers in exchange for Caleb Swanigan. A lot of Kings fans were like, who the hell is Caleb Swanigan?
I think weren't you that? Didn't you?
I was one of them. But he was huge at, I believe it was Purdue. or Clemson, one of the two
Purdue.
in the Final Four a couple years ago. He just never really blossomed. And then we'll get into two big Kings trades here after we talk a little, or after we pay a couple of bills with Mr. Tony Pacheco. Hey guys, I'm excited to announce a new partnership with Antonio Pacheco from Folsom Lake Ford. Tony has been my go-to sales guy for a number of years, and he's come on board to bring the awesome sales buying experience to each and every one of you. All of his information is on our website at sportstalk916.com, but if you're in a hurry and you're looking for a new car, give him a call today. Antonio Pacheco, area code 530-218-7069. He will answer all of your questions in regards to the car buying experience, and he is the main guy that I trust in the Sacramento area for all of your car buying needs. Again, Antonio Pacheco, Folsom Lake Ford, 530-218-7069. All right, Adam says, because of the accusations, the trade value plummeted to a third or fourth round pick at best. Steelers won't let him go for anything less than a first. Here's the deal. The Steelers owner already came out and said they're trading him. So that right there diminishes the chances of them getting a first-round draft pick for Antonio Brown. The Niners may offer a second or a third or both if they want him. There's been talks that they're willing to offer more than the perceived value in order to get him. So I think as long as a valuable offer comes through, the Steelers have to trade him because they've already made it public that he's gone. They're not going to just be like, oh, never mind. We spoke out of color and we want you back. Like, it's just not going to happen. And the Steelers are fucking up anyways. They're already looking at putting the transitional tag on Le'Veon Bell. If they do that, I don't think Bell or Brown report to the Steelers, and they're going to be B-less, double B-less. Right. How do you guys feel about Willie's All-Star snub? We'll get to that in a second, I guess. Oscar says, I'm hoping that Marquise Chris gets a better opportunity in Cleveland. I agree 100%. One of the folks at our Super Bowl party, Eric and Wendy that were here, are actually his, I want to say uncle or godfather. I don't remember exact title, but basically related to Marquise Chris in a way. And the night of the trade, when they were here in Houston, they got a text like 25, 30 minutes before the game was set to start from Marquise Chris. He said, hey, can one of you guys come pick me up? I don't have a game tonight. I've just been traded from the Rockets. And he was like 3 blocks away from my house for a couple hours that night. And we're going to go ahead and try this off season to get him on the show and talk to him.
Oh, cool.
And via his Steelers owner said they're open to having him back. Yeah, it's because they're eating their own words. Exactly. I don't think they're going to get him back. They're not going to be able to get him back. Kings trades. They traded. Let's see, we'll talk about the first one. Kings send Amon Shumpert to the Rockets in a 3-team deal. Houston gets Amon Shumpert, Nick Stauskas, and Wade Baldwin. And the Cavaliers get Brandon Knight, Marquise Chris, and a 2019 lottery protected first-round pick from Houston. And the Kings get Alec Burks and a second-round pick from Cleveland. A lot of people were upset about this one. A lot of people were upset about the fact that Amon Shumpert was going to be gone. I made the point on our live video that night. I said, well, what if Shumpert came to Vlade and said, hey, look, I don't have plans on re-signing here this offseason. Now's your chance to move me for some value. Or on the flip side of that, what if Vlade went to Shumpert and said, hey, look, we're in the place right now. We're about to get Harrison Barnes. He's going to be taking your minutes at the 3. You're in a contract year. We're going to go ahead and move you somewhere that you can play. And I think the second one is more likely because in his exit interview that he did with Sean Cunningham as he's leaving the arena on that night, he basically said, I appreciate the Kings giving me an opportunity to play. I'm in a contract year. For me to go somewhere and showcase what I can do, it's extremely appreciated. So I think Vlade did Shumpert. He did right by him. He gave him the ability to go somewhere in a contract year. And there's a good opportunity that Shumpert may look to come back to Sacramento next season. I don't think that there'd be any reason why they wouldn't want to bring him back. I don't think there's any reason why fans wouldn't be okay with it, except for Oscar. And, Shumpert could be a good veteran guy here, but the Kings did get better by bringing the players in that they brought in. Alec Burks, I think, is going to be a very good fit with this team. He can play the backup 1. He can play the 2. He's even long enough to play the 3. He's 6'6", but he has a 6'10" wingspan and plays good defense. In the other deal, the Sacramento Kings, we mentioned Scalabiciere and Caleb Swanigan. No one cares about that one. they signed. I just drew a huge blank on the 10-day contract we signed.
Oh, Corey
Brewer. Signed a 10-day contract. He left the 76ers. The Kings signed him here as another swingman. But the big deal, they trade Zach Randolph and Justin Jackson to the Dallas Mavericks for Harrison Barnes. Barnes will be the 3 for the foreseeable future. There's already talks internally that they may look into extending him in the offseason to maybe lessen the impact of that $25 million option that he has available sitting for him right now. And we could be looking at a future, our future 3-and-D player that the Kings have been so desperately needing. I think it's a good deal. I think Harrison Barnes fits this mold perfectly. I'm glad that they went the Harrison Barnes route more so than the Otto Porter Jr. route. I think that he fits better. I think he has a better chance of the chemistry. And not to mention, Harrison Barnes is an NBA champion. He won a championship with the Golden State Warriors. So if the Kings do make the playoffs, that's one more player that can help with the pedigree of this team. Chemistry has been a big thing. People have been very upset about the chemistry of the team. You get rid of Shumpert. And Shumpert basically said, this was never my team. I was never the leader of this team. I got a lot of credit for being the leader in the locker room, but this was always Fox's team to run. All I was doing was helping him get the confidence to run the team. And Fox, or another thing that came out of that was, he said, Shumpert said, it was a rule on this team that we never left the tunnel unless Fox was ready. If Fox was still tying his shoes, he was still getting dressed, he was still stretching. We never leave the tunnel until Fox was the one that let us out. And I'm going to trade my foot to Mike Tomlin's ass. That's probably a good deal. So this is Fox's team to lead. He's going to continue to do so. This team is still going to be fine. There's 2 more games until the All-Star break. They have a kind of a trap game today against Phoenix. It could go either way. And then they have 1 more game before the break. I don't remember who it is that we play against. We have the Warriors on Saturday or on Tuesday or whatever it is. So there's definitely a good chance for the Kings to go 1-1 before the break. That would make them 4-2 on this homestand, which would be great. And if the Clippers can figure out how to stop coming back from 20 points, they could have already been tied for the 8th seed today. But how do you feel about the trades? How do you feel about the trade with Dallas in particular? Because that's really the biggest tangible trade.
Well, there were really 2 or 3 names that we kept hearing about. Otto Porter Jr., a couple others, and Harrison.
Oh, yeah, Denver before the break, not the Warriors.
I thought it was the Warriors. I heard it was the Warriors. So I think that it's definitely an upgrade. I was worried a little bit about the chemistry, and then I got back to reality and realized that we traded basically a placeholder in Iman Shumpert, because he's not really, he's just a placeholder until he found somebody better. And I think we found that better. And I think Harrison Barnes has a lot of experience. He's got the championship pedigree. By all accounts, he was a great teammate in Dallas. Dirk Nowitzki basically came out and said he's one of the best teammates he's ever played with. I think that I don't think you're going to lose that team chemistry that Shumpert brought with Harrison Barnes. I think you're going to continue it. He said all the right things. He sounded appreciative. He wants to be here. He's excited about being here. I think it was a win-win. And I think that Vlade did the guys right that he traded away. He traded them all to places that either are up and coming or are already there. So Portland, Houston, even Dallas. With Dallas, the acquisitions Dallas made this year, they're not going to make the playoffs this year. But you get Porzingis healthy next year, and with the acquisitions they have, they're going to be a good team. So if Shumpert decides to re-sign with Dallas, he's in a good spot.
Well, Shumpert's in Houston.
Who do we send to Dallas?
JJ and Randolph.
So if
he's an idiot.
Shut up. JJ's going to be fine. He's going to have a good He'll have a big part of that team. And face it, a lot of times we sign these guys that we think are going to be, have a big impact on our team, and they never do anything anywhere else. Malachi Richardson. Everybody was all burnt out because we traded him last year. What has he done? He hasn't really done anything this year.
He got traded again. He got picked up somewhere.
Yeah. They said the same thing when we traded him last year. Oh, no. He's a big part of the chemistry. His team is going to go backwards.
Awkward.
Yeah, right?
Oh, speaking of awkward, I wrote this down and I forgot to mention it. So the Kings trade Shumpert to Houston. Within like a minute of the trade, James Ennis gets on Twitter and is like, "Welcome, big bro. You're going to love it here. This is going to change the atmosphere of our team. Glad to have you." The next day, James Ennis traded to the 76ers all it is for a second round swap rights with the Sixers. So he goes up, he's like, "Woo, here we go," and then gone. So talk about awkward. Charlie says awkward. There's awkward for you.
Yeah.
So there's an open roster spot now because we signed Corey Brewer to the 10-day deal. There's an open roster spot. Enes Kanter has been bought out by the New York Knicks, and there's reports that DeAndre Jordan is going to be bought out as well. Is there any reason why Vlade should not be going after one of those two guys? And who do you think would be a better fit for the playoff push between Kanter and DeAndre Jordan?
I would probably lean towards Kanter. I think Jordan can be a liability, although I think he's improved his free throw shooting a lot over the last couple of years.
Is he a bigger liability than this guy?
Yes.
Are you sure? Why is it?
I'm absolutely sure. I'm absolutely sure.
I'm not thoroughly convinced that he is, because Willie Cauley-Stein can't pull his head out of his ass and get out of his own damn way.
That's true.
I would have liked to, I don't know why I won't stay up there. I would have liked to see the Kings waive Willie Cauley-Stein if they weren't able to trade him, buy out the rest of his deal, which is a rookie deal, and bring in Kanter or Jordan. Willie can't make his free throws either, but at least DeAndre Jordan plays defense and rebounds a goddamn ball. So same with Kanter.
But
both of them make the free throws.
Stat-wise, Willie's a top 7 center in the NBA.
Stat-wise, I don't care. I want someone that wants to be on the court and wants to put effort into the game. Scott Pollard was one of the worst stat-wise players in the league, but I would take him over 90% of the big men in the league at the time because he played with heart and put in effort. Jason Thompson was a fucking bump on the log for most of his career, but I would have taken Jason Thompson in the starting lineup for most of the years that he was here because he put in effort and he played with heart. Willie Cauley-Stein, you get that once every 5 goddamn games, or you get that half of every game that he plays.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit more accurate. Is you get it for a quarter and a half of every game. Fortunately, it seems to be at the end of the game when they keep coming back from these double-digit, leads that other teams get on them. But and I wasn't really all that excited about what Willie had to say after the trade too. I mean, he got on and basically said this trade sucks. The chemistry
he quit on the team. He said Shumpert's gone. The scores are dead. None of that's ever coming back to our locker room. You have no faith in anyone else on your roster that can keep the chemistry up. You're just gonna quit. I don't get Willie Cauley-Stein at all. And then that picture I keep trying to share, it keeps going away. I get you're sitting on your bench, okay, but your team is shooting at the far end of the court. Why don't you go sit on that bench with your teammates instead of sitting down the other end by yourself?
You wouldn't go do that. You wouldn't go sit on the other team's bench.
Why? You're just sitting in a chair. All you're doing is sitting in a chair.
It doesn't matter. You don't go sit on the other team's bench. Can you imagine what the backlash would have been if they had pictures of Willie sitting on the Rockets bench?
It was the Heat, but I would much rather him down than sit on the floor. If all the reports that you said were true, that he was using his hypervolt to massage out his legs, then that is a battery-powered device that you can literally use anywhere. I use mine on a damn airplane for all I care. He could have went and sat on the floor in front of the bench, not on the bench, or in front of the scorer's table on that half of the court, and been there with his teammates, not sitting down at the end of the court. And that really doesn't even bother me as much as the video of the final shot of the first half of that game when I believe it was Bogey took the shot, it missed. Before it even hit the rim, Willie's walking off into the tunnel.
No, it was after it hit the rim.
Hit the rim before the buzzer went off. There was still a chance for the rebound.
The buzzer went off but before Bogey. I think Bogey got the rebound. The buzzer went off before Bogey even got the ball. And Willie was way out on the wing, and there's no way he was going to get to that rebound.
Doesn't matter. You don't just leave the court. You don't just dip out on your teammates early and go to the locker room. You wait.
I don't think it's that big. And with that picture that you keep trying to share, the things I don't know is how much time was left in warm-ups. When did it happen? Was it the beginning of warm-ups? Was it at the middle of warm-ups? Was it the end? When did it happen? I mean, that makes a big difference. If it's the last 5 minutes before the game starts, I got a problem with it. If it's 15 minutes before the game starts and they're just starting warm-up, I don't have that much of a problem with it. So I think there's some context that we don't have.
I just think it's a microcosm of everything that epitomizes the selfishness that is Willie Cauley-Stein at this point.
Yeah,
And
I agree with Charlie. The clock was at 0.
Okay, if that's the case, then I take it back. But the fact of the matter is, it is a very big issue that Willie Cauley-Stein does not put himself, or he should not be putting himself ahead of the team as much as he does. It is all about Willie Cauley-Stein at like 95% of the time when it comes to anything about the Sacramento Kings.
I've talked about this a lot since we started the show. I mean, since I came on the show, and especially nowadays, what's the least important position on an NBA team? The starting center. The center, you just need somebody basically to rebound and block shots once in a while. You don't need him the whole game. You just need him at crunch time. So, I mean, I'm not defending him, but I think we could
a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm not defending him 100% because I think he's an idiot. But, I think I think that there's not a whole lot of other options that I would prefer to have over what we have.
DeAndre Jordan.
I don't think so.
You wouldn't take either one of those guys over Willie Cauley-Stein?
Who knows that they're not going to do the same thing, or they're going to be in foul trouble, and then we're right back where we started again.
Do you re-sign Willie Cauley-Stein this offseason?
If you do, not for the kind of money he wants, so probably not.
Do you do it for $15 million a year?
10, maybe 11.
So you're going to let Willie walk then, because there's no way he's going to take. He thinks he's a $25 million a year player.
Sign and trade him. Maybe that's what they end up doing.
Do they have any value for Willie Cauley-Stein?
Oh, somebody's going to want him.
They had him on the trade block this year, and they didn't get any offers for him.
Yeah, but that's because he's an expiring contract. I think that if you have him signed long term, if you do a specific sign and trade, I think he's got more value. He's still young.
Let me read through some of these unrestricted or restricted free agents at the center position for next season. DeMarcus Cousins, we know that's not going to happen. Nikolai Vucevic from the Magic. Marc Gasol, Al Horford, DeAndre Jordan, Brooks Lopez, Willie, Jonas Valanciunas, Enes Kanter, Hassan Whiteside, Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee, Robin Lopez are the big ones. Do you go after Kanter or Jordan and just completely bypass Willie Cauley-Stein at this point, or do you give Willie another shot?
I think they're setting him up to give him another shot.
I hope not. I really hope not.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that, the thing that scares me is this is his contract year and he's playing like this. What's going to happen when he does sign?
That's the big thing that bothers me is like, okay, cool, you signed. Now what are we going to get from you? Because most players, when it's a contract year, they go all out and they go as hard as they can. They give you 110%, and you're like, damn, this is what we want. And then you pay them, and then they disappear. He's disappearing before he gets paid. So, what are we going to get from him if they give him a big contract and he's gone?
I don't know. Maybe he can get some tattoo sponsorships to increase his value.
I don't know. Anything else you want to talk about this week?
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, that was episode 272. We will be back next week. You're gonna watch. You said you're not watching any of the AAF this weekend.
I got a couple things I have to do. I have to work a little bit today, and a couple of social engagements to go to too. So
sweet. Vladdy ain't stupid. He'll let him go. I hope so, Chris. I really do hope that's the case because, Vladdy's done well. He's made the right moves. He's learning from his past experiences, and I'm afraid if they give Vladdy a big, or if they give Willie a big contract, then that's going to kind of erase all the progress that Vladdy's made.
Yeah, no, I agree.
All right, for Greg Rosa, I'm Greg Bowl. Episode 272 is in the books. We will see you guys next. Barnbaum says, get Cantor now with the open roster spot. Get DeAndre as a free agent. You don't need them both, Mike.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you guys.